Hello everyone, this is the most magnificent bird, Beak, speaking to you today. And in today's video, I'm going to be doing something that I haven't done in quite a while involving RTS, and that's going to be Conquest. Yes, I'm going to be picking up back with Conquest, and I know I said that I was hoping that I was going to finish it by the end of 2023. Well, I'm just going to be honest. I haven't really done Conquest in quite a while, and I really couldn't think of anything else to do in today's video. So I figured, why not do a little bit of Conquest? I believe I'm on Conquest 6, I want to say. I can't exactly remember the area. We'll find out shortly. Also, while I'm doing Conquest, I'm going to be talking a little bit about Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I'm just going to talk about something that I forgot to talk about when I went into it. And I'm also going to be talking about the MCU as well. And as to why I'm going to be done with the MCU after Guardians 3. But, I hope all of you are doing good and staying safe out there. I'm doing good, and I'm staying safe for the most part. So let's see. We are on Conquest 6, Area 8, the Southeast Woods. Wow, I can't even remember the last time I even did Conquest. That's crazy. But I honestly couldn't think of what else to do for today's video. But I definitely wanted to get this out before CRW. Now, for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, like I said, I really enjoyed it. It was a really good way to wrap up the trilogy. And James Gunn, he did a phenomenal job with it. He knocked it out of the park. So did the cast and other crew. They did a phenomenal job with it. And should there be any other future Guardians movies? Honestly, no, there shouldn't be, but will there be? Maybe so, but James Gunn won't be at the helm of it, which I think they should stop while they're ahead with Guardians, right? But James Gunn doesn't own Guardians, you know what I mean? Marvel does. So if they want to make future Guardians movies, they can, but I just don't think they're going to be quite as good. Honestly, I feel like Marvel, once they, if they decide to do anything further with the Guardians, it just isn't going to be as good, honestly, in my own opinion. So they definitely should stop while they're ahead with Guardians. It was a great way to wrap up that end of an era. And fittingly, one of the songs in Guardians 3 is Dog Days by Florence and the Machine, I think it is. And that's a fitting song because the dog days are truly over. The good old days of the MCU are truly over. We're never going to be able to go back to them as long as they, as long as Marvel, they make the boneheaded decisions they keep making. The good old days of the MCU are dead and gone, for sure. Because, what's the upcoming projects for Marvel? Ooh, the Marvels? Is anybody actually excited for the Marvels? I don't know of anybody that's excited for the Marvels. Come on now. Come on now. I don't know. I'm curious. If you are excited for the Marvels, I would be genuinely curious to know if there's anybody that's a subscriber of mine that is actually excited for the Marvels. I don't know of anybody. I legitimately don't. Then what's after that? I don't know. Like I said, I'm done with Marvel. It's going to get a whole lot worse. It really is. But, you know, you're going to have certain, I guess, quote-unquote, important people tell you that, oh, the MCU is, you know, it's never been bad. It's never been bad. Just take a look at Phase 4. Like, literally, there was only one good movie out of Phase 4. What was that? I'll give you a second to think of it. It probably won't be that hard to figure it out. Okay, the one good movie out of Phase 4 was Spider-Man No Way Home. Like, what else was there? The Eternals, Shang-Chi, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Black Widow, I'm not even counting the Disney Plus shows. I mean, they were a part of Phase 4, obviously, but it's so many of them I can't even remember all of them. Doctor Strange 2, which I'll say this about Doctor Strange. I liked the character in both Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, but I didn't like his first solo movie. And I sure as hell wasn't seeing the second one, because especially I heard that they pretty much assassinate his character in his own movie. Which, I haven't seen the movie, but it's not hard to believe. And then, oh man, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I'll say this now. I saw the first Black Panther, and I legitimately thought it was a really good movie. But, however, I did not see Black Panther 2, nor will I see that movie, because I cannot support that movie. I can't. Because, I'll keep it pretty brief. I just thought it was pretty sickening that they decided to profit off of a real-life death, which was unfortunate and sad. It really was, and it still is. But I just couldn't get behind it in supporting the sequel, and I just heard the sequel wasn't that great anyway. And the sequel it wasn't as nearly as successful as the first one was. Have they ever heard of something called recasting? I mean, it's too late now, but recasting can work. It can definitely work. I'll give you a great example of recasting. Albus Dumbledore from Prisoner of Azkaban to Half-Blood Prince. And honestly, that recasting, it worked out great, honestly. And they should have done the same thing with T'Challa. Now, could the movie have still been bad? That's definitely possible, but they didn't even consider that an option, and I just couldn't support that. I really couldn't. And then, what else? Shang-Chi, I don't know. I mean, some people thought it was okay, but I don't know. The only properties that I've seen with Marvel's Phase 4 was obviously Spider-Man No Way Home, and I did watch Black Widow, but that's it. That's the only two things I saw out of Marvel Phase 4. And Black Widow is one of those movies that it was way, way too late by the time they came out with it, right? And the movie had potential, but by the end of it, it just wasn't. It wasn't that great, I'm gonna be honest. It could have been a whole lot better. And is it really worth seeing Black Widow? Honestly, no, not really. Not at all. If you go your entire life without seeing Black Widow, honestly, you're not missing nothing much. They should have capitalized when that character was still alive. But no, they had to go and make Captain Marvel instead. But yeah, I didn't bother watching Ant-Man 3. I watched the first 2 Ant-Man movies, and honestly, those are 2 movies that I could have lived my life without seeing. They weren't that important. Well, the end credit scene to Ant-Man 2 was actually pretty important as far as it connecting with Endgame, but other than that, the actual movie wasn't that important. And I just didn't bother with Ant-Man 3. I heard it was a big steaming pile of poo, and I heard it was just really disappointing. And then the supposed next Thanos villain, Kang, I heard he was like super disappointing, and I heard that I heard supposedly he got defeated by giant ants, but he's supposed to be your next so-called quote-unquote next Thanos, and he gets defeated by ants? Are you serious? I didn't see the movie, so I have no idea if this is true or not, but the High Evolutionary was a way bigger threat of a villain because, when you get the backstory of Rocket and all of that, and, you see what... They don't tell you what the High Evolutionary does. They show you what he does, and it is pretty mean, evil, it's sickening. It may not be as... what am I trying to say? Obviously, I think Thanos is definitely the worst but best MCU villain, but High Evolutionary is right there next to Thanos, maybe just underneath him, but they're right there neck and neck, in my personal opinion. But Thanos obviously is number 1, because he dusted half the universe. So, but the High Evolutionary is right there behind him as number 2, maybe tied at number 1. I don't think the High Evolutionary would ever top Thanos, but he's right there next to him as far as worst but best MCU villains. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all I got to say about the MCU, because the Guardians 3, they have a really fitting song. Dog days are over. The good days of the MCU are over. That's what I translate that as. I know that's not what the song is meant to be, but that's how I see it. The dog days are over, and I correspond that with the good old days of the MCU are officially behind us, and we're never gonna get back to that, ever. We never will. So, as far as Guardians 3, yeah, I'm officially done with the MCU, because what do we have? Oh, the Captain Carol sequel. Oh, the Marvels. Get out of here. Nobody wants to see the Marvels. Not that I know of. I can tell you one thing, the Marvels, it ain't making $1 billion. No. It'll be lucky to make $500 million at the box office. I know when does that movie even come out? You know what? I don't even really care when that movie comes out. All I know is it's not going to be as successful as the first one, but Captain Marvel had the advantage of being sandwiched between Infinity War and Endgame, and they tricked people into thinking, yeah, you have to see Captain Marvel, when you never even had to. So, you think people are really going to line up and give more money for the Marvels? I highly doubt that. I mean, there's no doubt people will go see that movie, but it's going to be a very small number of people. And, yeah. As long as, like, the direction that Marvel's heading in right now, I have no interest in any upcoming projects they have. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. You know, I don't mean to sound like I'm pissed off. I'm not pissed off, but this is something I kind of been wanting to talk about and kind of, you know, just to get off my chest a little bit. So yeah, as long as Marvel keeps on heading the direction they're heading toward, I have absolute no interest in any future projects they have coming up. I don't care. Now, unless they do future stuff with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but that's technically not an MCU movie. I mean, it is a Marvel movie, but Sony has the rights to that character, and honestly, Sony, they need to try to keep those rights for life. Oh man, could you imagine? I mean, the MCU does have some influence on those 3 movies for sure, but could you imagine if the MCU had full control of Tom Holland's Spider-Man? Oh my god, it would be awful. It would be absolutely dreadful. I mean, maybe Tom Holland's not your favorite Spider-Man, but I don't know. I think he might be my favorite Spider-Man. Even though I grew up with Tobey Maguire. But, I don't know. I like Tom Holland's 3 movies better. I think all 3 of them are really good, in my opinion. And other than if they don't do anything else with Tom Holland's Spider-Man in the MCU/Sony, I'm not interested. I'm really not. Because it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. And that's kind of my little rant on the MCU. I don't think I have anything else to add about that. Now, this coming up Sunday night, The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon's spinoff is coming on, and I'm very much looking forward to that. And starting next week, I will be doing a spoiler review for the first episode of that. You know, I'm going to be doing a spoiler review for each episode every week, so hopefully everything goes right, nothing goes wrong, and I can get them out within a reasonable amount of time. So I'm just letting you guys know that's something coming up on the horizon. I will be doing spoiler reviews for the Walking Dead Daryl Dixon spinoff. I'm very much looking forward to that because you guys know I've talked about him more than a couple of times. You guys already know Daryl Dixon is my #1 favorite Walking Dead character of all time. He even surpasses Clementine Lee Kenny for me. He passes all of the Telltale characters for me, in my own personal opinion. That's how much I like the character. So I am super hyped for this Daryl Dixon spinoff. I'm very interested to know how he got from America to France. Now, my guess is he didn't go there willingly of his own accord. So, something happened. I watched the trailer, but the trailer I watched, I don't think revealed how that happened. So I'll be very interested in knowing how that happens. You know what the weapon I should have used for Thanksgiving Sophia? I did get the drumstick from that choice box. You know what? Hold on. Let's actually equip it on Sophia. Yes, here it is. Thanksgiving Sophia's drumstick. I gotta level it up first, but it totally fits the character for sure. And I mean, you could put that weapon on anyone that's fast, honestly. It doesn't have to necessarily go on Sophia, but it wouldn't hurt putting it on her, you know what I mean? Now, are there any movies that I want to see that's coming out this year for the back half of the year? Yeah, there's actually two that I can definitely think of. You guys are gonna probably groan at this, like really? They're coming out, they're doing another one? But yeah, they are coming out with a Saw 10. Haha! Yes, I am. Ooh, most people may not like the Saw movies, I get that, but I think all of them, except for two of them, are really great. The only two that I do not like is Saw 7 and Saw 4. Those are the only two that I just don't want to rewatch them. But if I'm going to rewatch all of them, I will rewatch them because I'm going to watch all of them in order, you know what I mean? But yeah, they're coming out with a Saw 10. And we have Tobin Bell and Shawnee Smith coming back to reprise their roles as Jigsaw and Amanda Young. Which, you know, I was kind of hoping maybe they would do something with a Spiral 2 with Chris Rock. But, you know what? I'm okay if we don't get anything else from Spiral, because we have Tobin Bell and Shawnee Smith coming back. I'm actually okay with that. The fact that they're probably only going to come back for one more, one last time. Because, I mean, let's see, Tobin Bell, he's quite old, honestly. I can't remember exactly how old, but, I mean, he's definitely already up there in age. And I saw the trailer, and I just gotta say, Saw 10 looks like it's going to be a glorious, gory, good time. If you are a fan of Saw, that is. If you're not, this is not going to interest you, which I totally understand, but I am very much looking forward to it. Now, the other movie that I'm potentially looking forward to, maybe, is A Haunting in Venice. Now, what that is, for those that don't know, it's a murder mystery type of movie. And, oh man, the detective character whose name I cannot pronounce, oh god, he's got this weird name, but he's got like this, kind of like a curly mustache, and I believe his name is Kenneth Branagh or something like that. He plays one of the professors in Harry Potter in the Chamber of Secrets. The Defense Against the Dark Arts professor. Lockhart. Professor Lockhart. That's the same guy that plays this detective character whose name starts with H and P. You know what? I'm not even going to try to even bother pronouncing it because I would just end up looking like a fool. So, but if you might have seen trailers for it, maybe A Haunting in Venice. You know, six suspects, and I believe it was 3 victims that got murdered. And how they're setting it up, it is, like, how it's being set up is as if the paranormal killed these 3 people, right? But there's going to be some paranormal elements to the movie, but just like Murder on the Orient Express, and I didn't see Death on the Nile, but I know Murder on the Orient Express, like, okay, spoiler alert, like, it wasn't one person that killed Johnny Depp's character, it was several characters that killed him. That was a twist on itself. I think that particular character, I think he's interesting, but the Murder on the Orient Express movie, it could have been better. But I feel, you know, that particular detective character, he was definitely the best part of Murder on the Orient Express. All of the other characters, they could have been a lot more interesting. Let's see, who was all in that movie? I know Johnny Depp, I already revealed that. He ends up getting killed. Spoiler alert, but they gotta have someone get killed, you know what I mean? So, Johnny Depp, Michelle Pfeiffer, Judi Dench, who played M as in those James Bond movies for at least, you know, all the way up until Skyfall. And then I can't remember who else was in it. But yeah. Other than Saw 10, A Haunting in Venice, I can't really think of anything else that I'm actually excited or curious about. I know a lot of people are hyped for the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. And that one, I'll be honest, it could go either way. It could end up being a tremendous success, or it could end up being a big failure. I mean, you gotta be careful with that Five Nights at Freddy's, because I don't know. I watched a YouTuber play one of the Five Nights at Freddy's games, and I can't remember exactly which one it was. But I mean, it was kind of interesting, but like, I'm a little bit more interested in the murder mystery A Haunting in Venice than I am Five Nights at Freddy's, because Five Nights at Freddy's movie, that's a big gamble. That could either work out really well, or it could stumble down the stairs and fall on its face spectacularly. I mean, we don't know. That movie is coming out within the next month or so, pretty soon, so we'll definitely find out. And alright, that is going to do it for this one. I want to thank each and every one of you for stopping by and for your continued support. Or if you're new, welcome in. All of you are very awesome, and I thank you again. And don't forget to hit the bell and switch on all notifications so you know the second I upload to YouTube. I am Buck Beak, and I'm gonna go fly away back to my nest. Until next time, bye guys.